Yep, that's me. And you're probably wondering how I ended up here. Well, it's pretty standard.
Happy Thursday. It is time to grind through the end of the week. That's right. It's the Grinding Gear podcast. I'm Garrett, joined as always by Kyle.
Hello.
How you doing, dude?
I'm doing well. I'm happy for some video games on the horizon. That's nice.
There's too much excitement for whatever's going to happen in Final Fantasy tonight.
Oh.
Like, that's all I can think about.
Yeah.
It is occupying every spare moment I have in silence to be alone with my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be interesting because I watched the Xbox Direct, which we're going to talk about basically that whole damn thing today. Or as I like to call it, the Xbox Misdirect, which is what they're trying to do after firing a bunch of people.
What? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
If I was working at a gaming news outlet and I was trying to come up with a catchy headline that was probably a little insensitive, you shouldn't make light of people losing their jobs and stuff. But anyway, someone should use that headline. You should call it the Xbox Misdirect if you're going to make mention of the fact that, yes, they still laid off 10,000 people last week. Do not forget.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was also just kind of like destroyed my Twitter For You, is it called? That thing is madness. I get that they're doing the whole TikTok infinite scrolling thing, so you got to pull content from elsewhere. That may not be yours.
I find it so amusing that everybody is like losing their minds about it, but like I think I'm assuming the reason everyone's mad about the Twitter thing is I guess they blew up all third-party Twitter apps this week somehow.
Yes.
I don't know. I never used a third-party Twitter app. So I've just been using the base Twitter app forever, and the main feed has basically worked like that for like the last 3 or 4 years.
It's more that there's the option for your follows, and then it auto sets itself back to For You pretty frequently.
That's fair. So for me on my end, as someone who's just been using the official Twitter app forever, the only thing that's changed is now I have the option of very easily switching to my follows. So to me, I see this as an absolute win. I'm not defending, by the way.
Sure,
Twitter's a mess. I don't trust it.
I do kind of like it because at least I see outrage that like isn't localized to me or my friendship. So I kind of get to go, what the hell is this? And in particular,
so you already, I didn't think about that. So you're saying when you look at For You, you already kind of have a set of armor on. You're already kind of prepared.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Twitter to try
it's going to be bull. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
when
it's
I
like a Polygon headline. It's trying to make you mad before you even read.
Exactly. And then you have to like dissect and like work through your madness. No. Like it just, my experience yesterday was bad news. And then console wars, which are just the most toxic thing I think.
Why do we still have these?
I don't know.
I don't get it, because I feel like it's still coming from people in my generation.
Yeah, it's our generation that does it, right?
Listen. We're all at different. I'm sure we all make different amounts of money, but I'm sure we all can come up with the same number of excuses to blow money on video games. So just get the other console.
It's fine. It's a weird artifact. Maybe we pushed it too much, and now it's like a hobby. It's recreational outrage, but the word usage is very extreme. And I'm always like, oh my god, do I want to check out what Xbox is doing? Actually, I was happy to see. Some video game news yesterday.
Yes, it's perfectly fine. It's the first time Xbox has really done something like this. They usually only do this crap for E3 or whatever we're calling it now. Jeff Keighley 3, Summer Games, Too Many Ads Fest.
Mm-hmm. They're all ads. They're all ads.
I mean, at the end of the day, the entire concept of something like E3 is advertising, right? But it feels fine when you sign up for it. But then he makes The Rock say a bunch of dumb shit about Black Adam, and you're like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm here for the games.
I mean, it's also there's an age of it like where a certain video game might take such a high investment. It's kind of like, why are you showing this like a general show? And I was, like Elder Scrolls, for instance, you're like, we're like 30 layers deep now. This is like diving into a brand new Marvel movie. I need some origin story a little bit to get on board here. But it was a nice cap to the week. I'm excited to talk about these games. Otherwise, I'm just playing through Last of Us again. Like I got that brand new PS5 version. I don't know.
You did it.
Yeah,
you ripped it. Here's what was going on, everybody. Is I got a bunch of texts from Kyle that was asking me what's the difference between all these Last of Us versions.
There's multiple,
and I just assumed you weren't gonna go for it for the big, because that thing's like $70.
It is $70. Yeah.
I went for it because it's just like one of my favorite games of all time, and it was a good excuse, dude. We're watching the show. You might see something from us on the YouTube pretty soon, Last of Us related. So keep your eye on the Grinding Gear YouTube channel. But yeah, just laughing at chat. Chat saying can't wait for Last of Us on PS6. Yes, that means since PS3, which is when Last of Us first came out, there's now been a version of Last of Us for every single Sony console since it released.
So why not? I say. I mean, sure, like we have a billion versions of Skyrim, but like it's a good game, and I think the $70 price tag to like update the graphics is entirely wasted on me because my brain auto updated the graphics, so it doesn't look any better to me. Like nothing looks good about it. I really have to go back and like dig up old files and be like, like what did last? And has there been any changes? Like, is there any gameplay changes in the newer version? Have they messed with anything?
I haven't gone and looked it up. I thought there was, but I could be wrong. I don't really care because for me, and here I go trying to spend your money, Kyle. It's time. You have a PS5, so I'm very sorry, Kyle. I know you're working on building a new PC, and you've just purchased a PS5, but I'm sorry. It is now time to part with another big chunk of cash. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but it's time for you to get a 4K television.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's probably why I don't, because I'm looking at it on the same screen I think I owned when I played it in 2014.
Yes. Last year, we decided after 10 years with our living room TV that it was time to upgrade. And I went for broke. I went and got an LG 4K OLED TV. It's beautiful. Holy shit. The new The Last of Us Part 1, which is what the remake is called. It's actually like a redo. And to my knowledge, they've like touched up every part of it. Everything's been like redone and made for that version of the game, and it is utterly gorgeous on my TV on the PS5.
I mean,
it's real pretty.
It's a pretty game, like it almost betrays the canned motions at this point. Like there's only so many grabs that Joel will do. There's only so many climb animations that happen. The ladder, gets reused. So you kind of go, this is a beautiful game, but it's missing that variety of a modern game.
I'm kind of okay with it though, because like that's the kind of thing where I'm like, it reminds me of like I realized that would have been post 360 era, but it reminds me of that era of like just tight ass game design where things just do what you expect them to do and the game behaves the way you expect it to behave. And I think the gameplay in Last of Us holds up. That is some good stealth action, man. I continued it this week. Second episode of Last of Us came out. I played through what happened to the show immediately after in the game. I fired up the game and immediately went to the point they got to. I'm trying to stay
we're
spoiler free.
We'll keep it entirely spoiler free. But yeah, there are changes in the TV show that made me go, why change that? And the real, I think the crux of it is in a video game, you're a murder machine. Like you just you kill 30 people before you even get to the first point where like the TV Go shows. And then it got a little dark, and you're like, well, in a video game, you've killed 20 people up to this point.
Yeah, I've already killed a lot of people, so...
There's already a disconnect, right, where your brain goes, yeah, it's a video game. Like, let's not really address, like, the monster within here. You had a video... Like, Last of Us could be, like, a Candy Crush game. As long as the story holds up, the gameplay doesn't really matter. It is a vessel for the story, and the story works. Much like Final Fantasy XIV. It's an MMO gameplay. The gameplay could have been anything, as long as the story's good. So I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm enjoying going through that game, and that's definitely my new fancy project with all those graphics.
Yeah, I'm enjoying having this big fat excuse to just be way too into Last of Us again. I'm sure at the end of this, I'm gonna not want any Last of Us for quite a while.
Yeah. But, it will go on for a time because was it May, March? Last of Us comes out on PC, so there's gonna be a ramp up here.
Listen, y'all are going to be late to the Last of Us game as far as I'm concerned.
Well, no, they're going to do the TV show. That's going to, 9 episodes? So you got, 2 months and a half. And that'll basically get you right to like hype will be real for all the people who want to play the game for the first time, and then there'll be a period.
Yeah,
of
I
time.
can't wait to see friggin' Shrek stealth through and kill a clicker. I'm really looking forward to it. It's really gonna upgrade my Last of Us experience.
He's not gonna kill a clicker. He's gonna kill a Teletubby.
We're gonna get it right. We're gonna have the Joel NSFW mod where he's just got his big old swinging pole. You know.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's really going to be the true Last of Us experience that everybody has been missing out on once Last of Us comes to PC.
You know, it's the genius of computer, you know, it's for the people. It's for the people after all.
Yep. I can't wait for my hot clicker mod.
I love this era of video game right now because like Persona 5 came out for Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass. And there was a whole community of people who wanted to talk about it. Like I always miss video game releases for the most part, unless I'm, you know, doing a work thing or something like that. So for me, it was like, ooh, look, like a 5-year-old game everyone wants to hang out on. This is great. None of that like, oh, you missed the window on that one. Well, I'm kind of bored of it. Like, they're fresh audiences. So all this refreshment, things coming to PC late, Xbox Game Pass. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's coming out. It continues to murk the waters for whatever's going on with, I guess, the Dark Souls redo and Final Fantasy 16 eventually maybe coming to PC, because that's still weird. No one knows what's going on with that, but still slowly Sony exclusives are being slowly ushered over to PC. I think it's just they're all eventually going to happen, and they just don't want to hype it up because they would rather you buy a PS5.
But yeah, they maybe right. But then there's like the loss leader kind of thing with consoles we hear about. So who knows? Like the death of consoles.
It's like when people ask, when are you stopping the MSQ tonight? And we're coy about it because we don't want you to leave. We're not going to think that you personally care about. That's what it's like.
We are not coy about it. We say very blatantly.
Do not give people an easy out to not buy your stuff, Kyle. Like it's bad business.
We work hard to advertise our exact stopping point. At that point, you're upset on your own volition. You have chosen to upset yourself. The information is available. I will counter that, sir. That takes work. That takes stealthy stealthersons trying to figure out stopping points without spoiling themselves on quest names. You know, you can easily skip to the end of the book and yell it on your way out of Barnes and Noble if you want.
Yes. I'll never get over the fact that Katniss killed Gandalf.
It was rough.
Yeah.
But the Naughty Dog is saying like they're not making another Last of Us, or they're doing a multiplayer next as their thing.
I'm unaware of whatever it is you're referencing.
Yeah, there was an article this morning about how Naughty Dog is like, we're owned by Sony, so we can do whatever the hell we want. We're not beholden to the fans. We're not beholden to shareholders. Well, we're beholden to Sony's, but Sony gives us free reign. So they basically said this morning they're done with Uncharted unless they have some amazing idea. Their next Last of Us project is going to be a multiplayer-focused game, which will have expanding lore on it, but is going to be a multiplayer game first and foremost. Otherwise,
not make Last of Us 3.
Yes, they might not until they have a really, really good story to tell, they say.
It'll happen eventually. It'll just be a longer wait than you expect.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Dude, the show's doing great. Dude, like the friggin' first episode, second highest premiere. The second biggest premiere of any HBO show.
Oh, what was the first one?
House of the Dragon, funny enough.
That makes
House
sense.
of the Dragon had is the best premiere HBO's ever had, which I get it. Game of Thrones is huge, but also everyone hated the final season, so like I was surprised.
Yeah, we were all showing up to see if we could reconcile that. I did not care, but I'm glad many people found
it surprised me. I was like, oh shit, this is out. Like I remember hearing about like 7 Game of Thrones spinoffs, so I just assumed House of the Dragon was one of the other 6 they canceled. And then it was just out, so I was like, all right, I'll watch it, and I ended up really enjoying it. The first season's good. I hope they continue to make it good. And maybe up the brightness a little bit.
Speaking of, oh my, it's out. You want to ride that? It's ready. Right there, segue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though we're going to talk about that a little later in the show, but let's do it.
Good. Oh, great news, everyone. Shove it.
It was already teased. The Xbox Direct went down yesterday. So today we're going to talk about Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Redfall, and probably not Elder Scrolls because neither of us play it.
Don't throw it under the bus. I believe you spent several years with a Elder Scrolls fan podcast thing.
What?
Scott Johnson loves Elder Scrolls.
Oh, yeah, but I didn't. Sorry, you started to say you spent something. I'm like, dude, I played it for like 2 days.
Yeah, I know,
like,
but
this is cool, but I don't need it in my life.
So you were adjacently exposed to a fan of it.
Scott brings up a lot of things a lot.
That's true.
And it's rare that I go, oh, I think I will actually like that. But yeah, I think Apex Legends was the last time Scott brought something up, and I was excited enough to start playing it, and we actually played it together. It's like you and me trying to coordinate on a game. It's very rare. It's even rarer now that Scott and I don't have a show that we do regularly. I miss you, Scott. But yeah, it's anyway, it's an MMO. It's people who play it are excited, and people who don't are like, oh yeah, that's the thing that keeps going on. And it's perfectly fine. I have no ill will towards ESO. But I only have so many hours in my life, and ESO is maybe top 5 for MMO interest for me. Like, obviously 16 actively playing, that's got the first spot. Still interested in World of Warcraft, so if you started playing it, I'd be back there in heartbeat. That's probably second place. SWTOR is probably third place for me. And then, I don't know, ESO and Guild Wars 2 is down there somewhere.
I just want everyone to know that the perspective exists on both sides. There are people who play Elder Scrolls Online who go, World of Warcraft, what the hell, another expansion already? Just as we sit over here going, ESO still going? Another expansion already? We all do this to each other.
I don't have that. It's just that I also don't really have much to say because I'm not actively playing the game.
No, I got
to me, it does feel like it's been a minute. It feels like it has been a minute since the ESO, the last expansion over there.
Well, let's plow through the one I don't think we're both gonna have much to say about, which is Minecraft Legends.
Minecraft Legends. Kyle, what is action strategy? Apparently it's a Minecraft action strategy game. I don't know what action strategy even means.
Action strategy to me communicates castle defense. Like, that's what Fortnite was originally. It is you set up turrets, you build a base.
I was about to say, is I watched the trailer for this and it reminds me of original Fortnite. Like before it was a battle royale sensation.
Well, these are very popular games with the kids. It's fun. It's got some RNG, some randomly generated environments or monster waves, and you can just kind of have at it for hours and hours. My biggest confusion about this is, why are they always on horseback? What's with the horseback? Do we get off our horses?
Because you don't do cars?
But why? Can we get off our horses, or do we have to be on horses the whole time? Not really interested in being on a horse all the time.
Maybe they, in testing, they realized it was more fun to be on a horse.
Minecraft Dungeons bombed. That thing was awful, apparently. Nobody cared. So I'm kind of surprised they're going back to the Minecraft well to try to make something else out of the game.
It's a little wild since, main Minecraft is kind of is still just such an over-encompassing existence. Like, it can be an only game if that's what you're looking for.
Well, and they're in that position of just, does Minecraft sell skins? Like, do they do shop items? They don't do a battle pass, I'm sure, but how does Minecraft make money after you've bought the initial game? Because I own the initial game. I played it many times. I enjoy it greatly. But how do they keep going?
So there are cosmetics, according to chat. You're asking questions I don't know the answer to because not a Minecraft guy.
Because it's interesting, because we're finding different games on Steam trying to replicate the Minecraft experience or the crafting, living world, procedurally generated thing, but they're not the size or have the support of Microsoft. So they have to find other means to do this. Like, for instance, one of my favorite games, Factorio, announced this week that they're upping the price to match, modern pricing standards. I mean, it's going from $30 to $35. Honestly, I'd pay $70 for that. That game has well entertained me. I think that's still really low, but it is an indie title. And when you look at it from the outside, you kind of go, oh, not much is going to happen in here. Except for blue science and all the crazy things you'll eventually, organize and put together on your big machines. It's a very, very deep game. But they have stated before that we don't have the audience size to do skins. We don't have the audience size to do an expansion. So here's what we're going to do. We're never going to go on Steam sale. You will never see our game on sale. And we are going to up our price incrementally with the price of gaming.
Chad appears to draw the line between PC and console. The console releases appear to have DLC, whereas the PC version does not, but there's also still things like buying servers and whatnot as well.
Okay. Oh, servers. Okay. That makes sense.
Also, there's been so many versions of Minecraft. Like,
right.
You can get that stuff on freaking iPads and crap.
I wonder how Vampire Business we played last year is doing. What was that?
V Rising?
Yeah, V Rising.
We were the odd man out, by the way. You say Vampire now, and everyone assumes you're talking about Vampire Survivors.
Oh, right. That's a good game, too.
I haven't played it yet. I'm honestly afraid, because I held off from Hades for a long time, and everyone was like, you got to play Hades. It's amazing. You got to play Hades. You got to play Hades. It's amazing. And I did, and it consumed my life. So I'm a little afraid to pick up Vampire Survivors. So
I think you could manage.
I haven't heard anyone mention V Rising since you and I played it.
But they had a great marketing system where their goal was going to be to sell you the base game, and then you had to buy servers off them, which I thought was genius. Like, you had to rent from them, and that's how they were going to fund their future projects. And man, if I was still in a LAN party atmosphere, a V Rising server for the night would just be the best, man. Like that, like full PvP, whoever can beat the final boss first, just go 12 hours straight.
You would need like a shorter version of the game. V Rising takes too long to get through.
I think if you were optimized, if everyone shows up practiced, you could get through it pretty fast.
Oh, you're saying play, but you just said PvP as well. You're also trying to fight each other. No, yeah. I think that's you just murder each other and no one would kill the final boss.
Well, if there's permadeath too, like you forget the LAN party atmosphere, right? There was usually like two dudes who were like going all night because they were still alive, and everyone else would go play something else. So other servers would start up as other people died.
Smash Brothers with fire up in the background.
Exactly.
They're out. Yep.
And the LAN party would evolve and change over the evening, and there'd be those two like really hardcore players who showed up ready to party, and they'd still be going, and everyone would be happy. It'd be a fine thing.
Anyways, Minecraft.
Minecraft, yeah,
it's Minecraft.
It's for the chip. No, this could be. I love castle defenses. I love castle defenses. And if they actually like make something wave based that you're able to like defend, I don't really see any turrets. It looks like there might be like you can get like follower. Oh no, there seems to be turrets up on the walls. I love defending things. I'm crazy about defense. Yeah, I could do this.
It just seems odd to me. When the last time I thought about a game like this was OG Fortnite, and just completely abandoned it to become the biggest game in the world with a completely unrelated game mode.
Yeah. I mean, in that regard, I'd like to point you towards Redfall that we're going to talk about today.
Yes, we will. But first, it's time to talk about something that I care about deeply and is basically speaking a foreign language to you, which means I get to press this button that I haven't pressed in a while.
Too soon, Junior.
Oh, yeah. It's time to talk about cars, because we got a pretty deep dive little look at the next Forza Motorsport, which doesn't have a number. They just gave up. It's just now called Forza Motorsport again, which isn't confusing at all, considering there was already a game called Forza Motorsport. It's the first one ever. But yeah, Need for Speed did it in like 2015, 14. So they were just like, this one's just called Need for Speed again. Have fun, everybody.
God of War. I mean, there's a point where like, and you do this with YouTube videos too. There's a wonderful series I love called something farming. I don't remember the name of it anymore. It's historical farming. People
you clearly love it.
I know. I forget. That's where my brain goes. But it's a show where people say the narrator will be like, "What was farming like in 15th century? We're gonna sit down and do farming the way it's done." And like you watch people try to live like farmers in certain time periods in the past, but their YouTube titles are not Farm History Part 1, Farm History Part 2. No, it's like how to not get dysentery. And you're like, oh. And so like you had to do like archaeology to just figure out what order you should watch the show on in YouTube.
How are you going to tie this into Forza?
Because having a number on anything these days automatically cuts off a chunk of your audience, and this is the right choice. You do not number your episodes on YouTube anymore. People need to jump right in. People need to dismiss Kratos as some, oh, that was for kids, but this is real Kratos now, not God of War 4. No, I'm not playing God of War 4.
I think that's true for some things. I don't think it's true for all things, and I certainly don't think it's true for racing games that come out. Used to come out annually, and especially when you have like a generational jump. You see a number and you just go, "Cool, that's higher than the last number I remember. It must be the new one." Like, because there's not a story to a game like Forza. There's not a story to a game like Gran Turismo. So
I would say the same for Call of Duty, and they're doing the same thing. Like, other than senior British dude showing up that people really like, there's not really a through line.
Yes, but Call of Duty's also like the Mountain Dew of video games. So I don't. They're dumb. I'm just gonna leave it there. I love Call of Duty, but it's a dumb series with dumb stories. So who cares?
Okay. All right. Well, now that we've had this wonderful
roundabout,
roundabout,
what particularly annoyed me was Battlefront, because it wasn't that. Yes, it was quite a few years since Battlefront 2, but to just do another Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2 annoyed me to no end.
So where are you? Do you want a number on Motorsport?
Just put a number on it.
I thought you'd be happy about this,
because they haven't even done that many motorsports.
There's never been a better time to jump into Motorsport. Like, we've got catch-up mechanics for your motorsports, your wheels. You don't have to level your wheels anymore. You can get all previous expansions of Motorsport. Our motor-related dungeons are streamlined and improved.
Yes.
Your car gets dirty.
It does get dirty. Real dirt. This is good looking dirt.
The dirt.
You can meme on this all you want, but I'm a car nerd, and that's really good looking dirt.
The dirt is accurate to where the fossil fuels would exit your machine. It's just great.
Kyle, I'm an expert because I've done one track day in my life.
Yeah.
And this looks like how dirt collects on a car when you've been tracking it for multiple hours. You get a really nice layer of grime on your car when you hit the track.
I love I love hitting the pavement, and the rain is gonna make my cars slick, and the crowd the crowd have at least 3 different t-shirt colors. I'm in, man. Like,
yeah. You probably, I would not recommend. So it used to be easier. I could tell everybody, if you're a nerd, play just the numbered versions, and if you're not a car nerd, just play the Horizon versions, which also usually have a number attached to them.
I want to do this race here, where we like drive old parental Volkswagens down the street. This looks great.
Yeah, that's actually a Mercedes. But yeah,
there's a Mercedes in Mario Kart 8.
Huh?
It's got really good stats too, like the different cars you unlock in Mario Kart 8, and then there's like Bowser in Mercedes. Oh, I can put monster truck tires too on my Mercedes, and a squirrel.
Yeah. So anyway, the Horizon titles are the more fun kind of Need for Speed adjacent entries that are, they're not based around real world tracks, whereas Forza Motorsport entries are based around real world tracks and are a little more quote unquote serious, trying to go after the Gran Turismos of the world. I don't think they've ever really quite taken a bite out of Gran Turismo, but it's what they've always tried to do with the motorsport entries. And this is, no number. It's just Forza Motorsport. So that's what this is. This is a slightly more serious Forza with real world tracks. This is how all the motorsports are. That's what this is. It's just now on the next generation, and it looks very, very, very pretty. So the trailer they showed during the Xbox Direct got into explaining why it's so pretty, because if you like car games, especially sim light car games, which is what I would say Forza Motorsport entries are, is very, very sim light. Going for realism, even though it's on the much more accessible end of car sim racing. This is the kind of stuff you care about if you're into these type of games. You get excited about reflections in car paint, because that's why car games look so damn good, man. You think about it, like every console ever, you want to show off that car game because you can always make a car look good because there's no moving parts. And we all know what a car looks like in the world because we've all seen a car out in the world. We know how the reflections work. We know how headlights on asphalt looks. We know what a slick road looks like.
Well, there's no flesh. I mean, that's really the thing for me. Is like you got fully armored individuals inside with their gloves and their helmets. So there's a very low chance you're going to see something that really kind of wigs you out. You're going to see cars going.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with Gran Turismo? Is it like bad? Is it?
It's they kind of had they lost a lot of good faith in the brand with the most recent Gran Turismo 7. There's a lot of hype around. Sorry, what was that?
Who's making the movie?
I mean, it's licensed. It's an officially licensed movie, so it's in tandem with Sony, if that's what you're asking.
Was that Gran Turismo making the movie?
No, some production company. I don't know. It's a real movie made by real movie people.
No, but it's a Gran Turismo movie, right? Like it's
called Gran Turismo.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They're working in the now defunct Gran Turismo school into the plot of the film.
Oh right, yeah, okay, I remember now.
Yeah. So Gran Turismo 7 is the new one for PS5. We waited a long time for an actual numbered Gran Turismo release. The one on the PS4 was just called Gran Turismo Sport and was very kind of esports oriented. It was a really good game, I think. But I was a latecomer to Gran Turismo. But anyway, we finally got GT7, and it was a microtransaction hellscape. The worst we've ever seen in Gran Turismo. So it really pissed off a lot of players. It took and still takes. It got better, but at launch, it took an obscene amount of time to make enough in-game credits to purchase cars in-game without spending additional money on top of the fact that you bought this game for full price.
Right. That's messy.
Yeah.
That's dirty.
So yeah, things are always very nuanced and very complicated in the sim racing world. Like if you're not even aware of sim racing, you might look at something like Forza and Gran Turismo and think that that's hardcore sim racing, when in reality the real hardcore sim racing is happening on PC with things like iRacing is one of the most popular ones out there, where you like purchase every car individually with real money and every track individually with real money, and you probably have a really serious setup, and the physics are basically the top of the crop in terms of recreating realism. So when you look at it like that, things like Gran Turismo and Forza are much more approachable, still more forgiving, even though compared to some like, say, I don't know, you probably grew up with Need for Speed and Cruisin' USA. Those are full on arcade racers. There's like nothing realistic at all happening in those games.
Need some items.
But yeah. So Forza, I would say, is like the lowest end of something that could maybe still be called a sim, but a lot of like car sim nerds would say, yeah, it's a sim because if you consider a sim a racing game where you have to hit the brakes to not crash, then sure, Forza is a sim, but a lot of hardcores would kind of laugh at Forza.
Okay. So this is almost like what they're showing off here is like their generosity. They're being like, look what we're making for you, and how we won't be nickel and diming every inch of it. You will buy a game and you will race cars that are real.
Maybe. I haven't gone deep to even see what their business model is, because you can just buy stuff with real money in Forza if you want to unlock cars. Like, and I've done it because I love Formula Drift, and they had a Formula Drift pack, and I was like, sure, here's $5, give me all the Formula Drift cars, thank you. But compared to Gran Turismo, that was pretty affordable. So there's all, but also usually you can also unlock it in game just from playing the damn game. The question is, like, all of these things where you can technically unlock it for free versus going and buying it. The real question is, how long does it take for me to earn it without purchasing it with real money? So that's what's going on. That's the only that's if you're not into these types of games, that's, I think, the interesting storyline with Forza is that Gran Turismo kind of lost a lot of their goodwill. So maybe if Forza ever had a moment to really come out with a hella good product for console racing games, now is their time. But it's interesting because it's already been a bit, and the people are either over Gran Turismo 7 and still playing it, or they just stopped playing it and probably aren't going back.
Interesting. Thank you for that. No, that dissects my curiosity about this trailer because it was kind of odd. They were very giving. Like this it was a very emotional trailer in that way. It was very much like, for you, the people. And I'm like, well, why? what are you doing that's so special? Now I get it. Like if the competition has been a bit weird for a bit, I can see why saying we got this real race track from Africa we're going to be doing, and it's going to be really real. I get that. I get it now.
Car nerds get really excited. I get really excited about that, and I never really understood it until I started getting into real world cars and became interested in going and doing track days. They're prohibitively expensive. I've only done it once.
Yeah,
but Forza, for example, has the track I went and did. So I actually, after I did my track day, I came home and I loaded it up on my sim race rig, and cute. I did run a better time using the strategies I learned on track, which I thought was really adorable.
That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah. But so that kind of stuff is cool. Like there's like when I talk to my car friends, there are like bucket list tracks like we want to go drive at some point. Most of them in Europe, and we'll be lucky if we ever get to take a car on them. But yeah, one of mine's in California. I really want to do, and it's in Forza, it's in Gran Turismo, so it's cool when you get to drive those, because if you're into that, mastering a track is like a lifelong pursuit. You can always, shave off 1/10 of a second here, 1/10 of a second there. But to those who are not into it, it sounds like the most tedious, repetitive thing you've ever experienced.
Well, yeah, it's a little weird because they'll be like, you look at our serious track, it's like a 3-year-old drawing just with a crown, like get across, and everyone's like, wow, oh man, I love that shape. I love that little dinosaur wiggle right there. That's a great track. I would recognize that anywhere.
Frobius and Chad knows the California track I really want to do. Laguna Seca is a bucket list track for me. I really want to drive it.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to put it down. This falls under my, is there going to be a dinosaur that chases me? No? Could I have an item perhaps, like a laser or something?
And for that, you got... Honestly, I don't know. We don't really make ridiculous racing games anymore outside of like Mario Kart.
Yeah. Well,
there used to be Twisted Metal. You had like Beetle Adventure Racing.
What was the ride? Mad Dash? Dash Mad? What was the Xbox release title where everyone was running? There's like a boar running and like a raccoon next to him, and you had a bunch of cell shaded characters.
No idea.
Cell Damage. No Cell Damage I liked too. I liked Cell Damage. That was fun.
Carmageddon. Oh my God, Chad. I remember playing Carmageddon.
Yeah.
We don't do that. It was, looking back on it, it seems so odd was Diddy Kong Racing, because it was like, well, we already have an amazing kart racer on N64. It's called Mario Kart, but also Diddy Kong Racing was legitimately great.
It was, yeah. And you picked and like the plane actually had different tracks it would do, and the hovercraft and all that. That was fun. I've got that on my my DS. I play that on planes and stuff.
It's a good damn game.
Now I have a Switch, and I'd probably play that instead. I haven't been on plane in a long time. Oh, man, Vigilante. Oh, Vigilante was fun. The rocket launcher, and that was so
Vigilante?
fun.
I've never heard that before.
It was Xbox original, and it was...
I say Vigilante.
Oh. That doesn't come up a lot, so I think we can have...
It sounds so fancy when you say it.
I think we can have both.
I like the way you say it. It sounds cooler.
Maybe I learned it from like angry news reporters like Jane Jonah Jameson. Like, that was Vigilante, and then he really kind of lay on the last phrase. So maybe that's where I picked that up. But that was fun. That was a fun one. It was like Twisted Metal without the clowns.
Yeah, Destruction Derby was fun. I remember playing that with my brother. Some good games.
Yeah,
some good stuff. Racing games are in a weird spot. It's a weird spot right now, and I don't really know why. Need for Speed's struggling. We don't have much in the way of arcade racers anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law owns a farm, and he loves these games, but he doesn't play any of them because he goes out on an actual tractor and drives it all day. So he's like, he always comes over and he's like, oh man, what are you playing? Oh, that looks so fun. Oh, that's great. Ooh, look at the straight lines in that farming simulator. That's really nice. But now they have GPS tractors. So you just program in your GPS and it'll do straight lines for your crops.
Whoa.
Yeah, so you don't even have a driver in there. It just turns itself around.
Man. You know what they need now is farmer AI, where they continue mowing like 3 more lanes than existed, and you just destroy your neighbor's property.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
There's a joke on like the 8 fingers that AI always draws when they draw people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought this was like a personal problem, like your neighbor was encroaching on your territory for an extra sweet couple of lanes.
No, my neighbor did
mowery.
break my fence, and they haven't said shit about it, and I don't know what to do about it because I don't like confrontation. But yes, I am actually experiencing a little bit of neighbor drama at the moment.
Okay, yeah.
You didn't know this, and you just tripped over a personal landman. But yes,
yeah.
It took out a tree, and my fence is now very broken.
That's very much the dead horse with 5 legs. Yeah, everyone loves the Twitter, the console wars, and let's beat up the poor AIs trying to do our art for us.
Oh yeah. There's a lawsuit now. There's a lawsuit in the state of California.
I'm interested to see it all.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see it all. I want to see how this plays out.
I am too. Mostly because I'm rooting against AI.
You're rooting for the humans.
I'm rooting for the humans. Rooting for the humans. Anyway, before we move on, we want to thank those of you supporting us over at supportourbromance.com. That's right. There's a lot of Xbox news to talk about, so I figure we'll break it up in here, take a little break on the back end of this. But if you like what we're doing here at the Grinding Gear Podcast and you want to support us, and it doesn't even matter the podcast, it's the Garrett and Kyle Patreon. Do you like what we make? This show, the YouTube or streams. You find our tweets bearable. Check out supportourbromance.com and you can support everything Kyle and I do together. There's nothing technical about it. Whatever comes in there, we cut it in half, we split it. That's how we do it. That's how we do it here. We're a very deep and nuanced operation here at supportourbromance.com. And we just cut it in half and split it. So thank you for the support, everybody. Check out supportourbromance.com. Get yourself some perks like an ad-free version of the show where you won't hear this. You'll also get access to the members-only chat in our Discord where you have a direct line to ask us questions. We've got some questions later on that we pulled from that very channel, as well as a few other channels in that members-only channel. So go check it out. And also get our bonus content like the spoiler episode about Chainsaw Man, and we might have some new spoilery things on the horizon. I'm of course talking about Mandalorian. We've already teased it. We're doing some spoiler episodes for the new season of Mandalorian.
That'll be great. Yeah, that'll be good fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But go check it out. Supportourbromance.com. Thanks for the support, everybody. And Kat, would you like to take a quick break before we continue?
I don't need one. I'm good. Like, do you want to roll? Do you want to roll? Let's keep rolling.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling it. But, let's take a little break. Just let's talk about. I won't go anywhere.
Now you're walking back. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
No, I'm not going to go anywhere. But yeah,
quick thing, and then I was starting to re-record. But it was fine. Getting back to it now. Kyle, Hi-Fi Rush, continuing on with the Xbox Direct, is a game that was announced and released yesterday.
What do you want? There's so much.
Make sure, by the way, do not play the sound because there's a very copyrighted song in the trailer and the game. So
no, I won't play. I won't play any sound.
Yeah. Also, maybe like show the YouTube UI because we keep getting demonetized for full screen videos.
For showing trailers. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah. All right.
You're showing advertisements. How dare you?
I know, right?
Demonetizing it.
All right, but anyway, like, there's a lot to say about this one because one, it did the it's out right now thing, which is really fun, particularly for something that feels a little more indie-esque. Though
I guess so. It's the studio that made Evil Within. It's their next game.
Right.
And it couldn't be farther from Evil Within, and they seem apparently very self-aware of this because they make jokes about the fact that this game is coming from the studio that made Evil Within in the trailer for the game itself.
Good for them. Like, I don't think I'd want to make Evil Within forever and like keep my head in that headspace. Like, what are you doing today? Well, I'm researching eviscerated bodies on Google so I can art them correctly. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've got to program black hair coming out of pits, but it's a mile long and drags across the ground, like that's my day. Evil Within is a fascinating game. That studio in general, I followed a lot back in the Evil Within days. I was super disappointed by Evil Within because it couldn't land what it was going for.
It didn't look like something I would enjoy, so I've just never even tried it.
Yeah, I really like I'm a big fan of detectives caught in extra dimensional problems.
Okay.
I got to go back. It's been a long time since I've thought about. It's a Bethesda works that got me excited originally because of the Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth game back in the day. So I was really, really excited about it that they were doing another one because I was like, oh, Bethesda, they know how to tell stories. I love Oblivion. I love parts of Morrowind, but it's really old.
Yeah, but like this isn't like Bethesda. This is like under the Bethesda umbrella, and it's its own studio, which is it's Tango.
Right.
The studio
who made like Shadow of the Damned or Mad World. Like they've done some really odd games, but I was really, really excited about Evil Within and Evil Within 2, and I tried that. Oh,
chat's coming for you. They're saying 2 is amazing, but 1's not great.
Oh, 2 is I heard 2 was a mess as well. So maybe I had a bad source on that.
Yeah, I've never heard good things about Evil Within. So, and not to say you're wrong, but more, I'm just trying to explain like my osmosis, my sphere of influence, and why I've avoided Evil Within.
Yeah, no, if you're a detective and you wake up in an insane asylum and then get right back to the story, like I'm sold. Like that's what I'm into. I love it. Apparently their primary project was Noah, a sci-fi open world survival game based on the 1984 film Dune. Well, I gotta look this up now. I gotta see what Noah was back in the day. But yeah, I think it's immensely healthy that a game company that made a really messed up game is now having fun. That just tickles my happy worker bones. Like I don't know what to say, but you gotta have a proper diet, and doing nothing but horror all day isn't healthy for you.
Yeah. So, if you haven't heard of Hi-Fi Rush, it's a new game that you can go play right freaking now, and it's essentially like it's an action rhythm game. Imagine if you played Devil May Cry Combat complete with a scoring system, like a style scoring system, but you want to land your attacks on the tempo of the music that is being played in the game.
Yeah, it's real time, not like Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is also a cool game.
Unfamiliar with it, so yeah, I didn't feel the need to specify real time because I'm just like it's an action game.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's cell shaded and it's freaking gorgeous. It is some of the best cell shading I've ever seen.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for cell shading, particularly after growing up with Jet Grind Radio. Jet Set Radio.
Oh, okay, that's the way you're going. I was going to ask if you ever played Beautiful Joe, because it kind of gives me a Beautiful Joe vibe.
No, that one was kind of weird.
It was weird, but it was like, GameCube core.
Yeah. His head was big. I think that was just like my art critique was his head was big.
Yeah.
But I love their graffiti. Oh my God. Like designing your own graffiti was really fun back in the day. The graffiti is an art, but do not do it illegally. Kind of sign that would pop up, your DJ that would let you know where the cops were going, spray painting the back of the cops to get them down, destroying robots with spray paint. It was just, I love Jet Grind Radio.
Yeah, it's really good looking, like exceptionally good looking. I think it's some of the best cell shading I've seen in the game. They really nail the look they're going for. I haven't looked. I didn't go digging to see if this is the intent, but it seems like it has like a low frame rate on purpose to make it even look more like animation.
Yeah. They're doing the Spider-Verse thing.
Yeah, which I think also helps sync up with the beat of the song.
Sure.
Like as you think about like individual frames of animation actually syncing with a beat hit. So like overall, I'm mad impressed. There's a lot of really cute details too. So I played past the first boss this morning. Because I saw this came out and I completely missed the fact that it was out. And I was like, oh, and it's on Game Pass. So I just installed it, and my birthday was yesterday, and my loving wife got me an Xbox Elite controller. So I had a horrible excuse to try out a new peripheral that I got.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, installed it on the PC, played it with my Elite controller. By the way, Elite controller, like couple hour review. Holy crap, what a nice piece of hardware. But like overall, there's a lot of really nice little touches. There's a lot of things in the world that pulsate or move to the beat. Like there's just like lights and they're blinking in tempo with the song. And so you've got a light attack and a heavy attack is the simplest way I can describe the combat is you have a light attack and you have a heavy attack. Light attack has a basic combo of 4 attacks. Heavy attack has a basic combo of 3 attacks. So if you press your attack button in time with the music, you get like bonuses. Your scorecard gets higher. You also get like a little timing combo at the end. Like a circle appears on your screen and it gets smaller. And when it lines up with the green circle, that would be on the beat. And if you press it on the beat, you do extra damage.
Okay.
And it feels really good when you land it. So like all of that, this whole reliance on the tempo of the music is really fresh. I think pretty well executed. And I'm absolutely in love with all the little touches. Like I said, the way that things move and pulse in the world to the beat. There's even just a dedicated button you can press, and it'll just show you a little piece of UI shows up at the bottom that just shows you the tempo. It's like little lines moving towards the middle circle. And so if you want a visual on kind of how you should be hitting the buttons, it'll give it to you, or you can hit the button again and it'll hide it. Because I turned my subwoofer really high up, and that helped me a lot.
So are the songs different per level? Like you've got different tempos you're trying to match based on what you're doing?
Well, they stay consistent for long. It's, to me, I think I heard maybe 2 or 3 songs up to the first boss, but it's like it's not like it won't randomly change the song on you. It's like the zone you're in kind of has the song,
right?
Like it's like the background music. So you can kind of find a consistent. I found myself tapping my foot the entire time I was playing this game to kind of keep myself in rhythm.
Do the kids even know what this is? He's got like an iPad video in his art or not.
All right. Yeah, I have some not glowing thoughts. One is that it feels like millennials pushing their shit on people that are younger, much like boomers tried to push their stuff on us. There's straight up an iPod, and it opens with the black keys, which I don't think you can date music faster at this point than the black keys immediately sound old to me now.
What do you feel like being pushed on us? I mean, I know like there's DeLoreans and all sorts of games that kids have no idea what they are. Because you're not going to show like an 8-year-old Back to the Future. It's not raunchy, but it is, adultish.
Well, whether you like it or not, I don't know. Like this is the good stuff, kid, and he puts on Zeppelin. Like music these days isn't as good as the music when I was your age. Like all that kind of thing.
Okay.
Where I'm like, do we not have new garage rock? Like, did we peek at the Black Keys and there's nothing new we could have here? Because I hear the Black Keys and I'm just like, this sounds 10 years old. Like, why? It's a future setting, which is a little odd, but
Gen Z, is that is it Gen Z?
Is
that
that's the current? That would be like the current generation.
Yeah,
of cool kids.
We kind of messed up. Where were we going after that? We're out of letters.
Well, we skipped X and just said millennials. So.
Oh yeah,
we'll probably come up with something.
It is kind of buzzy though, because the millennium and okay.
Yeah. But it's also millennials are really wide net, and Gen X is actually a pretty small net in terms of ages. I didn't come here to debate but generations with you.
I do find it interesting because I saw an article this morning was piracy is alive and well in Gen Z. I'm like, well, they don't have their own money yet, right? Why run this article? We were all young once. We all pushed the envelope.
You gotta write about something, dude.
True.
You gotta write about something. But yeah, so to a certain degree, it feels weirdly dated, but also I'm kind of into it. Like I don't know. It's weird. There's parts of it where I'm like, the Black Keys seems cringy, but I also don't hate it.
Is that a band? So, you keep saying Black Keys.
Yeah, Black Keys is a band.
Oh, I was thinking like
Grammy Award-winning band, and the song in the trailer is also in the game, which is freaking what's the song? Lonely Boy. You've heard it in a million commercials.
One Less Lonely Girl. What? How does it go?
I'm a lonely boy. Whoa, oh, I got to keep me first. Yeah.
That was lovely, but just listen to ring a bell.
You're gonna recognize it from the guitar riff more than you're gonna reconize it from me singing.
Okay,
but
it was. Thank you for doing that. That was wonderful.
Irrelevant. You're welcome. Anytime, Kyle. Anytime you want me to sing for you.
Appreciate
it. There's one other thing that I think is probably gonna keep me away from this, and it pains me because I kind of love everything about this. I don't love the combat.
Oh, that's a
It doesn't really land for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't really. I think that I love everything about this game, except playing it. So and that's just a personal thing. I don't think it's necessarily inherently bad. I think I wanted something different from it.
But you sometimes go 2D, like you do a little bit of platformer running.
Oh yeah, it changes. You also have like a home base, and that's like a fixed isometric view when you're in your base. And yes, there's platforming sections, and I thought they were pretty damn good. But the majority of it is third-person action. But the issue I have with the combat is like they want you to hit the attack buttons on tempo, which I'm totally fine with. I love rhythm games. But then the attack in game, if you do it right, is going to land on the beat. So it's weird because you're hitting the button on the beat, but the attack might happen a few frames later. And I don't like that. I wish they were like instant.
Oh, it's like delay. Yeah, because the animation has to play.
Yes.
So that doesn't hit on the beat, even though you got a button on the beat.
Really, really bothers me.
That's interesting.
And I want to be very clear is that I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think I just don't like it. Because I think it's a very well-made game, but I don't like that. It's with like I want the attacks to be instant in time with what's going on.
I
tried to adjust the delay. No, because it was working. I got pretty good grades. Like I was clearly tempoing just fine. It's just that the visuals aren't matching up with my button clicks. So there's this to me. There's like this disconnect between like what I'm pressing and what my character's doing. Because there were a bunch of warnings when you load it up, and it's like, make sure you have like game mode on, and all that. So I didn't have an issue with that. I had no issue hitting the tempo. Like I screwed up a few times just because I suck, but there were other times where I was really in the groove and I was nailing it. But it's just I never feel like I'm in a flow because of the way the delay on the animations, which kind of really took me out of it.
I think it's genius. I love the whole it's now on Game Pass thing. I think that's a great advertisement tool for their service. And this is a $30 game by the looks of it. So having that as the developer is probably a pretty good tool. You know, I'm not sure of what the kickbacks are when it comes to, you know, how many downloads, like what that equals for money for the developers. But a $30 price tag, that seems like a pretty good deal for them.
Yeah, it's a real tight game, and at least in our community, there's been a lot of folks talking about it in our Discord and our chat today. Like, seems to be a darling. People seem to really be enjoying it. So, like, and I think it's charming as shit. And I love musical based things, man. Especially when it comes to like rock. Like, I love Fully Cool. There's a reason I love Fully Cooley, and there's a reason I love Scott Pilgrim. And this aesthetically really scratches that itch.
You like hitting things with guitars. Yeah, I get it.
No, I didn't really think about that, but sure. I guess that is in both of those things that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And he's also, the main character in this is also hitting things with a kind of a guitar. It's a magnetic rod, and then it just picks up junk, and it just kind of looks like a flying V guitar.
That's kind of cool. You know, he wills it into existence. Also, the storyline of here comes another that quote I played at the beginning. I hate these sort of things, right? I love Emperor's New Groove, which does the exact same. Like, so you're probably wondering how I got here, but
I thought it was well executed.
It's funny. It's funny this week because the hate on Forsaken or Forspoken.
Oh, Forspoken.
Yeah.
Forspoken. Yeah. Which, by the way, I think it's hilarious that like people were memeing on some of the dialogue, and I thought the dialogue was like legitimately good in Forspoken. Apparently, the rest of the game's a mess. But everything I've seen writing wise, I think is pretty damn charming in Forspoken. So I've been, it's been interesting looking at Forspoken from the outside in, because I'm like, why are you hating on there's nothing wrong with this writing. The writing's fine. I think you're just hating the hate. Like, it's one thing if the game's bad. Sure. Cool. But I see nothing wrong with the writing in Forspoken. I just had a bad ad in the beginning.
Well, and then, you know, it's very much like, look at this piece of crud. And then they start playing, and you're like, well, with that intro in mind, I'm gonna judge it harsher, but there's nothing I really like about the robot voice in Forspoken, and so why are we so hyper focused on making fun? Maybe it's just not for you. Like, this is
because everyone just wants to find the new cringe thing to dunk on, and they thought it was going to be this because of that ad, and then they just had it in their minds, and then it came out, and they're still making the same tired cringe jokes, but it's actually not that bad. So yeah, that's what it is. We're recreationally dunking on things now.
The Dunkerinos, Dunkaroos.
Yes. Would you like to recreationally dunk on Redfall?
It's not that I want to recreationally dunk on it. It's that I don't think this is the game you chase right now. We've done this so many times. We keep coming around to. I love Left 4 Dead.
It's not a Left 4 Dead game.
It's not?
It's not a Left 4 Dead game.
It's a co-op open world shooter where you fight bosses and pursue.
Left 4 Dead is an open world.
Okay, hang on. That's a little bit of.
I'm so glad you are not in the know the way I am. So there was a literal article. There was an interview where the devs of this game said it is not Left 4 Dead. It is more Far Cry. And this came out at the first week of this month.
But
so I'm meta gotchaing right now. This
I know.
is more for humor than me actually.
No. I'm with you. But isn't that just Left 4 Dead with extra steps? Like, you say I have to traverse to my Left 4 Dead dungeon experience, but it's still that's
the
my
way
end
they
goal,
describe it.
right?
And now that I've seen this trailer, so when I saw the interview, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I'll believe you when I see the game because your trailer just made it look like Left 4 Dead. Now that we've seen this trailer, the one from the Xbox Direct yesterday, I more or less think they're being truthful. I see the through line. I see what they're talking about with Far Cry, with some exceptions, but the thing is that the interview predated the trailer, so I was just like, oh, I don't know. I didn't really pay much mind to it. I almost put it on an episode of this show, and I kind of skipped it. I'm like, who cares? They're just talking about things that we can't verify.
I just think we're chasing the dragon. Like, this is like chasing MOBAs. This is chasing the big thing. This is chasing Fortnite. Like, we keep trying to make Left 4 Dead style games, and they just don't pan out. I mean, look at Darktide's big email they sent me this week. That was kind of weird. A big, like, apology. It was weird for me. This is like when I log into Hearthstone once a month and it's like, congrats on 5 packs and welcome to the new event and press your hammer to break the glass. And I'm just like, what? Oh, well, I'm here for your battlegrounds. So, like, leave me alone. I same thing happened with Darktide this week. They sent me this big email like, we're so sorry this didn't meet expectations. We know we've let you down. And I'm just like, what? I played
I played your game. I had a good time. I moved on.
All right. I played it on release. I was there something wrong? Apparently it's the crafting system, right? If you made this like your main game, the crafting system's super shallow. There was other issues. Like I noted early on, like there just weren't enough environments. There weren't enough enemy types to keep me hooked. And apparently there's tons of performance issues that are going to stop it from coming to console sooner rather than later. So, but still, it's kind of like, what? But Darktide, you did what I asked you to do. Same thing with that, the other one that I always forget the name of because it's Back 4 Blood.
Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, like I enjoyed you. Your story was kind of Your voice lines were way too frequent and kind of annoying, but like it was a fling. It was a simple fling. So now Redfall comes out and it says, "Hey, I want to be Left 4 Dead, but I want to waste more of your time." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to do that."
I think it's more that they're trying to make a co-op map game. And I think of like Far Cry as a map game.
I'm okay with that. I like that idea, but they also talk about like the procedurally generated dungeons, which are always going to be a little weak. You know, procedurally generated just doesn't have that crafted quality that a game that is handmade is going to have. Like that's why we were just talking about V Rising earlier. I love that map. I thought the map was very intricate, a little repetitive, sure, but that was just for size and the number of players it could suit. When Diablo 3 got repetitive. And it looks like we have an open world that is set. That will always be the same, but then we go into a co-op dungeon. And we have like Overwatchy, Valorant kind of style powers based on which character you pick. And you co-op through that for sweet victory.
Yeah. I think I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with it. It's just like, anyway, my point is that my through line with this is I thought their interview where they were like it's Far Cry not Left 4 Dead was dumb, and now that they showed me this I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. Like you've got an open world map with a lot of like there is the other thing with Far Cry is yes, there's a linear story if you want to go do that, but you can also just go explore and have just random crap that you go enjoy and go like, what was the last Far Cry I got really into? 3? It's been a while. But it's just like, just go get all the radio towers and clear out all the bases. And I had a lot of fun with that before, they did like 4 more Far Cries that were basically the same with different settings. So I'm not inherently against the classic Ubisoft map madness, but I know a lot of people seem to be pretty burnt out on that style of game. But I'm always looking for the next co-op experience.
Yeah, there's like talent points. I agree with you totally. Like a little bit of this is just like I want to be alone for a bit. Yeah, it's like, I've just been in too many relationships recently that I'm kind of, I need to focus on me. And focusing on me means, what is the hardcore mode on Left 4 Dead? It's so good. I love the movie poster idea where you go in, it's a unique level. We're not too concerned. I think there's like an immune plot in Left 4 Dead where like the people you're playing with are immune to like, not immune to dismemberment, but immune to zombie bites and stuff. And you kind of make your way through the map. And you're in an airport, and that's that story. You're trying to get the bridge down, and that's that story. But ultimately, they don't really cross. And the simplicity of Left 4 Dead's combat and character selection, meaning it doesn't matter, means it's more about the guns you pick. And the more you kind of pare that down, the more interesting your strategy is. Because it's easy to learn, hard to master. So I see all these talent trees in an open world, and I go, you're really shooting for the moon. Like the chance of this going bad is really high.
Yeah. And at that point too, it's like if you can play it by yourself, but also play it with others, I'm almost like, why do the pre-made character route? Why not let me make my own character and just spec however I want, so I have a little more ownership of my character? I don't know. I'm a little. I didn't really think about this coming in, but yeah, I'm really over the Overwatchification of everything. Like, I'm not into your quirky characters.
Your hero brawlers kind of thing. Yeah, that they all.
I'm a little done with it. Done with it.
No, but I love vampires. I think vampires are great. I think you can do enough vampire varieties. I don't think we do for the most part. V Rising did it really well, where you fought mostly humans and they had different powers, and they were pretty distinct. Like the huntsman had traps, and that was very different than the paladin kind of guy you fought.
They were really well themed.
Yeah. And I think you can do that with vampires. I mean, you can have werewolves, but you can have vampire that's also a spider lady, and you can also have like leather bondish vampire who puts you in leather bonds. Like you can really explore that, but often I find in vampire games they go a little just too and like hair up in like a ice cream curlicue kind of thing. Like hover, there's feral and then there's vampire.
So I came prepared with a bit of a rant.
Okay.
And then you brought up Overwatch, and I got sidetracked by a rant I wasn't thinking of. So I don't mean to over rant, but are you ready for the art rant on this one? I have an art rant.
All right.
What the hell style are they going for?
On the characters or the environment or the
vampires?
Whole
game. Yeah. I don't understand what they're trying to do, and it makes me really annoyed.
Well, the environments look like Left 4 Dead. They do. They look like realistic 2005.
I don't think. They look. What's the old Valve engine? Source. They look Source. They look Source AF.
Yeah.
It doesn't look Left 4 Dead, but it does look like Source to me. But some guns look modern. Some guns look cyberpunk. Some guns look like I tripped and fell in the Borderlands. Mm-hmm. There's also robots for some reason. Well, but the environments look like Hill Valley and Amity Island. It's like real Americana. So are we future? Are we Americana? Are we post-apocalyptic? I have no idea what they're going for.
I think that's the mashup, right? Like that's supposed to be kind of the fun of it.
Okay, all right. Because to me, it was like they couldn't decide, and it's just a hodgepodge of video game stuff.
And I hope that's the organicness. What I'm saying ultimately through all of this, skepticism is I love Left 4 Dead, and I want more games like this. And you and I obviously love co-op games because that's what we're doing here on this channel.
Yes.
So this is our jam. There are alerts. I hope that the environments looking kind of sourcey means that they're very permanent, static. They're supposed to look in universe enough, but things change. Like this giant flying heart I see right here, connected with tendrils. Like that's a world event, and that can happen anywhere on the planet, and that's why the buildings are kind of plain, because at any point they could all have spirally tentacles and corruption Zerg stuff blossoming out of them.
Okay, cool.
And the enemies.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, and I think it's also might just be an Arcane thing, because I don't think I've ever looked at an Arcane game and been happy with how it looks. Because I tend to, they're the studio that's making this. They did Dishonored and Deathloop.
Dishonored was. I bet you hated the art style of Dishonored. It reminded me of Fallout.
I think Dishonored is one of the ugliest things I've ever looked at.
Okay,
yeah. I absolutely hate the look of Dishonored.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked rat powers. I loved summoning rats and teleporting around. I thought Dishonored was really fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Well, Dishonored was
on the opposite ends. I'm like, I bet Kyle loved Dishonored.
Well, wasn't Dishonored another Bethesda thing?
Well, Bethesda owns this studio.
Yes.
Don't they?
Yes. Yes. Bethesda. Yeah. So there's that through line. We just talked about Evil Within and all that. Like there was a time period where everything Bethesda did, I treated it like BioWare. I treated it like Blizzard. I played every Bethesda game. And that ended around Dishonored 2, where I kind of
it's my through line with Bethesda as a whole, even though this is not Bethesda, is that I think they have my least favorite art direction in the industry. I love Skyrim, but like most Elder Scrolls games just look like generic fantasy. It's like a skeleton is just a skeleton. Like there's no inference. Like it kind of looks like live action role play.
Well, and that yes it does. And that clunk is supposed to, in my mind, contribute to an organic world where crazy stuff can happen. Like, you know, for instance, you can go in there and you can kill all the shopkeepers and steal everything if you want to be evil. But like, particularly Oblivion had a lot of like, you became a vampire and now you can only go at night and you might meet this person on the road who is this person you saved earlier. And there's Fallout New Vegas had a lot of these. And so when I see that source environment with vampires that kind of look cel shady and out of place, I go, I hope this is because there's going to be a lot of them. I hope it's because your monster variety is going to be so large you couldn't possibly make them all look amazing. What was that? Remnant. Do you remember Remnant? Was it called? It was Left 4 Dead mixed. What they were saying was Dark Souls, and they tried to do like a vine creature thing.
I'm not sure you're remembering the name correctly because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think it started with an R. Revenant from the ashes. Yeah, it already had a colon and another name on the back end of it. So, you know, your brain already kind of went, what are we doing? Curse of the Black Pearl? Oh, that movie was actually good. But, you know,
wait, Remnant from the ashes?
Revenant.
No,
Remnant?
There's Remnant from the ashes game.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about?
It was from the ashes, yes. So that game had really crafted environments, really crafted enemies. But when you played it, you had like 3 enemy types, and the bosses were bullet sponges.
Okay.
So when I see bad-looking enemies, my brain goes, "Oh, the possibilities! This could be really organic."
Okay, so that's the thing. That's where I'm landing on this. Is it annoys me looking at it from my art preferences.
Sure,
but the gameplay looks fun. Like it just looks fun to play. And I do like. I've stayed away from Far Cry-ass games for so long that I know there's a lot of pushback against Ubisoft, like the kind of canned Ubisoft experience right now.
Sure.
I'm kind of in the mood for one of those again. And this is co-op, and it's got a map with things I can go check off the map. The shooting looks good. I'm a sucker for a good cloaking device. Like it just looks like fun. It just looks like a fun game. But so I'm cautiously optimistic on this one. But I was really looking forward to Back 4 Blood, and Back 4 Blood did not hook me.
No.
And I know that I started this with saying, Kyle, it's not a Left 4 Dead game, but it is at the end of the day, it is a co-op shooter, and when that's the first thing I think of when I think of co-op shooting.
Right, I'm the audience. Yeah, exactly. You're even if you changed elements about it, you're saying I should have an already bought in idea of what your world is and what your game's going to be. And you don't like Borderlands, right? You've never been to Borderlands?
No, man.
Is it a comedy thing or a gameplay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
The comedy I think it's objectively not funny.
Okay.
And I think it's bad shooting. It's not good. Like of all the shooters out there, I think Borderlands has maybe second worst to, funny enough, most Bethesda games I think have really rotten shooting.
Yeah.
For a game that is just shooting, Borderlands shooting is not very good, in my opinion.
Knowing you're a Halo fan and also like ooh, that gun had weight kind of fan, I see exactly what you're saying about
I like real guns.
Yeah.
Or well, I was gonna say I like ballistics more than I like energy, but Borderlands is mostly ballistics. Like a bullet is a ballistic. Like in Halo, I always want to have the human guns. I don't like the Covenant weapons.
I love needlers, but yeah, I get you.
Well, yes. Listen, I'm not above using weapons in Halo I know I will win with, but like when I'm going through the game, I'd rather have like a sniper and a BR.
There's an element of that, right? Like there is this is a real gun put in a fantasy situation, and I think Back 4 Blood had that element pretty well. The guns were pretty good in that, actually. It was more.
Yes, actually, the shooting in Back 4 Blood did feel quite good, but Back 4 Blood it's tough. I feel bad for them because I think they made a pretty damn good game. I hated the card system; really took me out of it, and I felt slowed my gameplay. Like I just wanted to keep going. And I was like, all right, back to the thing and do your deck of cards. And I was, anytime I see cards outside of Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, I don't want to play your game anymore.
It was the time period for sure. We were all trying to work in that, roguelite kind of systems. And honestly, like that card system, I would have loved that in Mech Assault when I was younger. I would have loved that in so many games because it increases replayability. Like my friends and I would be sitting around and be like, let's put all the hard cards in. What if we did the infect and we'll increase our loot chances? The problem is it was also like hyper violent, super blood heavy. And I think in that way, they made a highly replayable mess with game that was targeting like 21 and older. And therefore it's a little flat.
Yeah. Anyway, like I said, I feel bad for Back 4 Blood because I think overall it's a really good game, but like outside of my card complaints, I just kept wanting the Left 4 Dead characters because they were more charming, and in my opinion, again, it's all subjective, right? Like maybe you love the characters from Back 4 Blood, but for me, both like every time I play it, I'm like, boy, I wish it was just Bill and Zoe right now instead of these people.
Well, and I put my own character so much in Lewis. Like that was my favorite character to play. Like the rolled up cuffs, the tie. Like I loved him so much. Like I'm getting like little nerd chills just thinking because like I brought you were just on your way home from work and this went down. Like there was room for me to insert myself. Whereas in Back 4 Blood, I played as the guy from Regular Show. He was a voice actor I really like. But every time I'd swing my bat, he's like, see, Dad, I could have made the team. See, Dad, I could have made the team. And there was no room for me to insert myself into the game and enjoy it.
Yeah. That was because first Left 4 Dead came out when we were in college, right?
Yeah.
So I lived in jeans and chucks. So I liked playing Zoe because every time I looked down, you saw skinny jeans and chucks. It just felt like me.
Coach was just so lovable. Like I loved playing.
They did it twice. They struck gold twice. They actually came up with a lovable cast of characters twice. It's how I feel very much about Avatar and Korra because I love both those shows casts, and I can't believe they did it. I can't believe they actually made me love characters a second time. And now apparently they're going to try it for a third, and I'm like, can they really do it? Can they really make a third? Freaking cast. So anyway, we're getting off the beaten path here with Redfall, but
sure. They struck a chord with us, obviously, and I want gothic vampires running around a small mountain riverside. It's open world, so it's all the environments down, perfectly meshed together, mountain, river, and swamp, and like they're all touching biomes. So hey, more on that later. This comes out in May, so no date given yet. That I see, but May. That's pretty soon.
Off the beaten path. I thought that was the point of podcast. Says Jason Chat. Yeah,
it's true. It's true.
Hey, you know how it goes. But I'm assuming it's coming to Game Pass, right? Sorry, did you just say that?
I believe everything does. Everything in this.
Okay, everything in this thing.
Yeah.
Hey, then Wait, I don't have
Elder
the.
Scrolls? Is Elder Scrolls a Game Pass game?
I believe you can play Elder Scrolls if you have Game Pass. Yes.
Oh, interesting.
You're talking about Elder Scrolls Online, yeah.
Yeah. Huh, I never really thought about that. Do I need a subscription outside of the game? How do
I haven't played enough to answer that.
How do I participate? But that's our next topic anyway. Segue of segues.
Let me know your thoughts on Elder Scrolls Online because I got nothing. MMOs are gonna MMO is my thought on this.
Sure. I saw them do the Cthulhu thing in one of their Skyrim expansions, and I thought it was cute. They never have enough monster variety to really make it work because literally it's supposed to be the insane dimension of insane dimensions. And when you make a monster that doesn't have any variance to it, I go, oh, well, I've seen you. This isn't insane anymore. This is perfectly logical. All tentacle monsters look exactly like this model for all time. Therefore, you have not succeeded in my heavy requirements of a Cthulhu game. So they're going for that. They're going for, they're calling it Necrom. And they're doing, I think they're pulling those threads, right? They're doing their Arcanist class, and they want to do extraterrestrial, extraplanular tentacle business. There's a great Shoggoth in there at the very end where the big alien shows up that you might be worshiping or something like that in order to get these powers. And it's just, I like the Elder Scrolls trailers a lot. I always watch them because they are almost no story. It's all combat. It's just some scenario that they've cooked up for the situation. And I think they're always really, really fun to see. They're doing
Elder Scrolls is always an ebb and flow for me. Like there were plenty of times in Skyrim where I just wanted to explore and I was perfectly happy just exploring and just kind of taking it in without reading a damn thing because I wasn't all that interested in the story. But then there's stuff like Dark Brotherhood where it was like I couldn't get enough of that story.
Right.
So I would always kind of ebb and flow between like I'm here for the environment, I'm here for the story. It was very rare I was here for both in Elder Scrolls, but
it's a great looking monster. I mean, all these trailers that they've done for same with Old Republic, right? Old Republic still puts out some cool trailers too. The issue with any MMO will be from the outside. It always feels like, what's so wrong in that world that things keep messing up this bad? Like why is this world under attack by Shoggoths now? Why did we need these new powers? What extraplanar attack is coming?
Because we have to sell a new expansion, Kyle.
Exactly, and I'm okay with that. I think it's a really cool.
By the way, it looks like the expansions are not included. Like you get the base game with Game Pass, and there's not a sub. It's like you buy the game, you can play the game, and then they also have a cash shop.
I mean, I've also heard like a lot of it is voice acted. I mean, that was my first experience. We had Dumbledore in there talking at you.
The whole game is voice acted. It's insane.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's well made. It's a damn well made game. I have nothing bad to say about Elder Scrolls Online other than I'm gonna need like 2 extra days in the week if I'm gonna play this game.
Yeah, even check it out. And they're pulling those threads that I think a lot of us are really sensitive to right now. They're doing that. We're going back to Morrowind, and we've just heard a lot of that kind of language recently from our MMOs, particularly Blizzard. We're bringing it back to the origins. We're going everyone's favorite, and you're just like, yeah. Do you have anything new? What big mushrooms?
Well, Kyle, they did the new thing with the jailer, and you shit all over that. So
that's true. I guess. Well, they did the back to World of Warcraft or Warcraft 3 thing too. So maybe they pulled it too many times. But I really like this trailer, and I love tentacles. What can I say? I love big monstrous dudes with too many eyes.
I look forward to losing you to Elder Scrolls Online.
I don't see that particularly happening. How long would it take to even get through? Like,
please don't grenade our current MMO project. I would appreciate it.
I'm not gonna grenade. Is that a phrase? No, I'm not gonna destroy Final Fantasy 14 to go. I actually don't really much enjoy the combat or look of the game when you get to that level. I think it's
same. I've gotten over, like, there's a long time I avoided Elder Scrolls games because I just didn't like how they looked, but I got over it with Skyrim, and kind of realized like, oh, you're just supposed to kind of like let your own little imagination take over a little bit because this is so kind of face value fantasy in terms of how it looks. So yeah, I played Skyrim after I played D&D with you, and it helped a lot. I think it's part of the reason I really enjoyed Skyrim. Skyrim's just a really good game.
Right. The more you bring to those games, like there's a mod I love called New Life or something like that, where you wake up somewhere random with a random set of equipment, and you just kind of pretend you're going about your day. You might be a farmer or a cave-dwelling necromancer this time, and you just have at the game in whatever order you choose. And Elder Scrolls isn't the MMO online isn't that type of game. You will play the MSQ through, and I just don't particularly like the combat.
I don't blame you. I don't think the combat makes me angry, but I don't think I get excited about it either. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
Also, Cthulhu, Lovecraftian horror is really just, we've tried it so many times. It's really hard to pull off. And you can design monsters like this all you want, but it's no longer a selling point for me. It won't get me to auto buy anymore, which I'm sad about. You know, I've grown up. That's what, you know, like my childhood innocence is gone in that regard. Same with zombies.
I wouldn't be sad about clarity in what you want. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So that
Which
was
is why I'm squinting at Redfall, because I'm like, do I want to play you?
Yeah, that's why we're so hyper.
There's something about it I don't trust, but it's on Game Pass, so who cares? I'm gonna try it.
Fair. Yeah,
let's take the entire conversation we just had, throw it out the window, because we're gonna be able to try the game anyway.
It's one of those services I'm leaving on right now. Best deal in gaming. I don't really care about that. Like, honestly, right now,
it's the best deal in anything, because like, what is Netflix really doing right now? Like,
I have. Let's see. I have Ben 10 Power Trip still installed, Paw Patrol Grand Prix, and Persona 5.
Someone's a father and a weeb.
Yeah.
Well done.
And may those two one day merge together to have a fabulous house.
You too will. You listen. Liking anime doesn't mean you will not also be a parent. It's fine. That's just eventually gonna be our channel, man. It's just gonna be aging anime fans.
Fair, nothing's wrong with that. You know, they gotta follow us, or we'll be left behind. But
wives and waifus, here we come.
My biggest regret in gaming right now is that I didn't buy Persona 5 for the Switch. It is such a one more turn kind of game. I would love to have it in my pocket. On computer, it's a little too much to like turn on the computer, set it up, get the thing, load the screens.
I'm getting to the point where I really want a Steam Deck, even though I know I probably won't use it that much. But it's like it's this point where it's that dumb thing I want that I'm pretty sure I won't use enough to justify the cost.
Right. Yeah. And I felt that way about my Switch too, until Mario Kart kind of fired up in this house. I was having some serious buyer's remorse on that one.
It's a Nintendo console. You have children. It will get used.
Yes, exactly. Now it's a centerpiece. It's a very popular device in my house that I struggle to keep charged.
Dude, when I binged Hades over the holiday break on my Switch, like I hadn't touched my Switch in so long, and I was just like, damn, the Switch is such a great piece of hardware. It's a shame the guts are so outdated.
Yeah, I hope Octopath Traveler 2 really finds a through line for their story.
I just want them to make a Super Switch. Just don't do another weird Nintendo thing. Just do the Switch again and just give it halfway decent internals, please. It's such a good piece of hardware.
The two controllers on one device, I'm really for it right now. It gets used a lot. The motion turny thing totally works to drive a car. Like, it's all about, kids. I think ultimately, like, Nintendo knows that this is going to be great for kids. But yeah, as an adult, I'm like, a little more power, please, in my device. Thank you.
Just a little bit, please. Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny
less
bit.
Gimmick.
You don't need to go nuts, but please run Nintendo games well, at least. Thank you. But I digress. You want to take a question before we wrap this up?
Absolutely.
Hello there. Hello there. Hello there.
You can send your emails to feedback@startgrindinggear.com, or if you're supporting us on Patreon or are a member of our wonderful YouTube channel, either or, you get access to our members-only channel, and we have a channel for questions right in there. Goes directly to us. Right as there. Luke did that. This is actually, I want to say 2 weeks old. Saved it because I was like, this is going to be a long answer.
It's a big one, yeah.
And here we are on an episode that's already going long, but whatever. Luke wants to know what games we're looking most forward to in the year of our Lord, 2023.
I literally just had a pop-up because I closed Xbox Game Pass that said pre-install Atomic Heart. So that'd be my first one. It literally just alerted me that I'm curious about that one.
I don't think I realized that game was coming out so soon.
Yeah, it's coming up fast. It is it scratches my
It's
BioShock.
a new BioShock.
Yeah,
from the dude that made BioShock.
Yeah. Not that is, a high. We've been around the block a few times now, and I got really excited about Callisto Project last year. So, I'm not holding the by the makers of very high right now, but I do really.
Did you like
BioShock.
Infinite?
I did not. I thought the weapons I don't even remember there being spells in it. I felt like the combat was kind of simplistic. I thought the environment was beautiful. I did not much enjoy the twist.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. Whereas I love BioShock, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. Whereas Infinite, I thought was perfectly fine.
Yeah, BioShock 1, though, it was made in an era where we didn't really have twisty story games, and all my roommates and Kristen gravitated around the computer. The more I played it, the more kind of people I gathered watching it play. And BioShock 1 was just fabulous.
Was Atomic Heart not the Ken Levine game? I thought it was. I may be mistaken.
Is it not? It looks like one. It certainly looks like one. I just believed you when you said it.
Yeah, I thought it was a Ken Levine game. Never mind. I'm absolutely wrong.
There's faces on the walls. We're going through environments that are past their heyday. There's, a center square where someone is clearly trying to play God. Like, it is definitely of that vein.
I just assumed it was a Ken Levine game.
Oh, I'm actually kind of scared now. There's driving cars. The second I see, a shooter where you're going to drive a car, I'm like, oh no.
It was fine in Half-Life.
That was a buggy, but yes, that is true.
You know what other game also I enjoyed the driving in is Far Cry. I like the driving in Far Cry.
Look at this tentacle beast. Look at this blood circulatory system jumped out of the body thing.
Kyle, I thought you weren't sold on tentacles.
I like that.
5 minutes ago you said you don't buy games based on tentacles
anymore. That doesn't mean I'm still not like, ooh. I mean, if you want I wasn't going to go hard into it, but the tentacles are too thick and Elder Scrolls. They're like big chunky boys. I like it could sneak under your fingernail and infest you. Like it could get creepy. And then they definitely have like Half-Life style robots in here. Like there's just a lot of the monster design that I see in this Atomic Heart that I'm just like, oh, we're doing it. Look at these pods. Look at this discarded super robot library. Enhance your brain advertisements.
Cool. It could be cool.
Yeah.
I need more narrative shooters in my life, please.
Yeah.
I miss them. They were my jam growing up. Just utterly obsessed with Half-Life, and then graduated to shit like BioShock, and now it's. I would like narrative shooters made by studios that are not owned by Bethesda, please, because I feel like that's all I have anymore.
Okay, well, who does own Atomic Heart now? Who's doing this?
So who is actually doing this darn game? Chat room saying it's a non-US based studio.
Okay, I just assumed it was like a fantasy language, but that might be Russian there on the wall. So I don't really know. So developer Mundfish, Focus Entertainment, Asia Divinity 4. Okay, hang on. Okay, now we're developed by Russian studio, headquartered in Cyprus. Previously developed VR games Soviet Luna Park, but ceased development and delisted the game in late 2018 to focus on Atomic Heart. The studio is using the Unreal Engine 4 with NVIDIA RTX and so on and so forth.
Wild.
Yeah. So I don't know much about it, and it's not going to be a day one purchase because all kinds of infinite alarm bells. As we were just talking about, like it looks very infinity, and I want to know the ending's good if I'm going to put in the time.
Well, I'm excited for something that comes out tomorrow. Dead Space, the remake.
Nice.
I've never played it.
I'm really excited to hear you play it.
I absorbed a lot of it because my roommate was obsessed with it in college. But it was just one of those things where I was like, this looks good. And then I saw most of it and felt like I didn't need to play it. But I'm in the mood for it because when I heard about Callisto Protocol, I was like, oh, that's right. Dead Space was like a cool thing that I didn't end up playing. So maybe I'll be into that. And then I saw any of Callisto Protocol and wasn't all that interested in it. And then it came out. And now I'm definitely not interested in it.
Yeah.
But
it lost its way. Was all.
Yes. I'm in the mood for more survival horror, please. And I never played Dead Space, so I'm going to play Dead Space. And if everything goes according to plan, we're going to stream that tomorrow for our casual Friday.
Oh, right. It is Thursday. Yeah, that will be tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm excited.
If everything goes according to plan, I do need to test it. Make sure I can get my capture card running and stuff because my computer's not terrible, but I feel like it would struggle to do that plus run the stream. So I'm going to pick this up on console.
Dude, it's my MSQ vampirism. I have played through it 3 times myself. I love watching people play Dead Space. Callisto Project lost the through line, and Dead Space 3, while it had amazing combat, and I've talked about it before. I love Dead Space 3 for its co-op. They went military guns, and Isaac Clarke is an engineer repairing a ship and building weapons out of the stuff he finds inside. It is a huge game to me, and I'm really excited to see you play it for the first time tomorrow.
Also, it is reviewing quite well if you're the type of person that buys into that type of thing. I do if I'm interested in something.
I'm so excited to see that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, buddy. I'm excited for that this year. We've talked about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I can't wait. I loved Fallen Order. That's definitely on my radar. I'm gonna tease and say Kyle and I have talked about that Resident Evil 4 remake is something we're both interested in maybe doing some videos about when it releases. Yeah. Because we both love Resident Evil 4. And it's a wonderful excuse to revisit the narrative of an old favorite of ours.
Yeah. So cheesy, but it's so fun.
It's the first Resident Evil I liked, man. I love that game.
Not for me, but I get that. It was the first one that modernized a bit and got rid of a lot of things people disliked about Resident Evils.
Yeah. Also, I completely forgot when Luke asked this question, I went digging. I'm like, what is all coming out this year? I had no idea that the System Shock remake is coming out this year.
Right, that's a beloved game that I never played of the past.
Same. It was something I missed in my childhood, and it's straight up kind of difficult to go back to now because it's such an old game. It's hard to run it. But it looks good. The remake looks good. And it looks nice and retro while still being, like a proper 3D redo.
I believe it. Yeah, this was a lot of people's first Twist game they played too. This is the first game people played where they're like, oh, video games can have real stories. So it's held in memories as extremely high regard. System Shock Reborn. Yeah, the trailer, I remember watching the trailer and I feel like they didn't show much, which is good and bad. It could be that they're ready to rock and you know what you're going to buy anyway, so why do we need to sell it to you?
It's on my radar. It's because it's a game I've always wanted to play. So I hope it's of quality because I would like to experience it. Redfall, maybe. We'll see.
Maybe
it comes out in May. I'm super excited for Diablo 4. There's a lot of ex-Heroes of the Storm talent over on the team that you and I know and trust. I want to see their trajectory. I want to see what they're doing in a new game. Also, I think this is a big chance for Blizzard to win back some goodwill, at least in the quality of game department.
Yeah, I really don't have any fears that the gameplay is going to be bad. Whatever sits on top of it, hopefully is ignorable for my first playthrough. I just want a great story. I want to feel Diablo-y in there.
I never 3 was my first Halo, my first Diablo I played all the way through. So to me, Diablo's story doesn't matter. It's not what I go to the game for because Diablo 3 story didn't matter.
No, it did. No, it did not.
I just love that gameplay loop, and so I would like more of that. For what feels like actually forever ago now, because it kind of was forever ago. The Diablo 4 demo I played at BlizzCon 2019 was really good. I really liked the way the combat felt. So I'm honestly for probably my most hyped game of the year. And also probably Blizzard's last chance to impress me with a new game. Overwatch 2 didn't do it. Their mobile releases are mobile AF.
And they've taken too long on that survival thing to kind of warrant.
Well, they don't even have a name. It's not going to come out anytime soon.
Right. What I wanted to hear from them with that unannounced survival Valheim kind of thing that from the outside looking is I wanted to hear a Blizzard where they were being more organic. They're like, great idea, ship it. Great idea, instead of these over refinement that I felt Overwatch 2 was too many cooks in the kitchen, over polished in that way.
Yeah. And then, other than that, we both have talked about how we're going to play Final Fantasy 16 because, hey, I like Final Fantasy now, which is new for me. And this one is cut very much from the same cloth of 14. So I want to play 16 big time.
Yeah.
And then everything else on my list is maybe it'll come out this year. I'm really interested in Dune Awakening, which is the Dune survival game.
Sure, that could be really fun.
I'm super interested, but that may not come out this year. I'm still looking at Starfield being like, A, I don't know if I'm going to like you. B, I still don't know if you're actually going to come out this year. Like, I know you're saying it, but I don't know if I believe you. I cannot wait for Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is, I guess, supposed to come out this year. That's what they're calling a return to form Assassin's Creed game. Because I miss old Assassin's Creed because I have no interest in their FromSoft-esque entries they've been doing for the last decade. And then we're getting Hades 2 early access this year. And maybe we'll get Spider-Man 2 if that actually makes it by the holiday. And that's my list.
Yeah, and my is it even going to come out this year would be Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I know, what is it, Diablo 4 on June 6th. I know we could start that up easily 2 weeks to go. We could get into Diablo 2, and we could play co-op through that. Like, the story is pretty short. We could mainline that in a few Fridays. I would love to show you Diablo 2 before we hit Diablo 4.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it. I would like to experience why you care.
Yeah, why I care about a story in Diablo. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because I like Blizzard stories, but I Diablo 3s didn't do anything for me, and I didn't beat 2.
But unless we become unless we explode, have full-time editors, and all the background work of posting and all that sort of stuff magically disappears, there's no way we're gonna stream Baldur's Gate 3 co-op. The Divinity 2 Original Sin was so big, 164 hours for me and my friends. I want to play Baldur's Gate 3 with you. I want to get 2 other people on board. But man, what a massive game those things are. But I love to play through it. Outside of that, here's my Callisto project. I always go for these. I love Aliens. So Aliens Dark Descent is announced. It's being made by a Plague Tale team, which they did okay. They did all right. Maybe they can do some horror with the Aliens franchise. So I've got my eyes on that. And same goes for Dead Island 2. I don't think I'll like it ultimately, but I always kind of go, ooh, zombies, I want you to be good.
That game was announced more than 10 years ago.
Yeah. Sure.
I got nothing. Yeah. I got nothing on Dead Island 2.
No,
it does nothing for me.
Reality check me, absolutely. These are the things I get excited about and will never pre-order. And Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That I think I'm too old for Zelda, I think, which is kind of sad.
That's interesting. Why? I've never heard anyone say that.
I don't really need a sandbox game of that level. I want really thick, hearty dungeons. I want overtones of darkness that we have moved away from since Majora's Mask. Wind Waker, they were still ooh, you could read into that. But not to call them kids games, but I don't want to apply my needs for dark fantasy to Legend of Zelda. But it doesn't mean there's a part of me that's not can we do Majora's Mask again? Can we be really messed up?
Yeah, this is where people on the internet get mad at me because I didn't really like Breath of the Wild, so I'm not really interested in Tears of the Kingdom.
And it looks like more Breath of the Wild in that way. And by no means, Jet's coming at me a little. By no means am I saying this is a game for kids. Only children should play. No, Zelda's a fabulous game, but it lost the deep dungeons, the really complicated dungeons, and back and forth that I enjoyed in the N64 days.
That's why I don't like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think you and I have ever talked about that. I've talked to other people about this, but yeah, I don't like the micro puzzles of Breath of the Wild just spread out everywhere. I'd rather have a bunch of hardy dungeons because the dungeons that are in that game are really good.
They are,
but they're short, and I wanted way more of that and a lot less of 100 and some odd shrines.
Right. You want to sink your teeth into it and really feel like that hammer you unlocked is going to get used for an extended period of time before we put it away for the next challenge.
What do you mean hammer you unlock? Your hammer broke and your hammer doesn't matter because you're going to go through 17 hammers.
I don't get behind that one. It's popular to rip on just how unplayable it is because the broken weapons. I was fine with that. And if I
I was fine with it until I got the Master Sword and that also broke. And I'm like, this is stupid.
It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. But it is a time expense. And as a kid, farming and then going a dungeon, that would really appeal to me. Like, I would be all for... And you did that in Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask had, like, augments and attachments. You could go to, like, the forge and get your sword sharpened for a certain number of hits. Like, I really like... And same thing with MMOs. Like, I want to sort my inventory. I like going through my armory chest. I like getting dressed up. Like, I love that, like, okay, survival kind of feel. I gotta fill up my bag. Okay, let me... And I know over here, there's this great hammer that I can get. Okay, that's in my bag now. I'm ready. Let's go. But then you entertain me for 20 minutes with my let's go prep. And I'm not as sold.
Yeah, and interesting. I didn't know we shared any less than enthusiastic thoughts about Breath of the Wild because I catch so much flack on Twitter for that.
It's a beloved game, you know.
Yeah, it is. It's really impressive. It's not for me. The last Zelda I truly loved was probably Wind Waker.
Yeah, Wind Waker was...
It's just hilarious because I was so mad at the time because I wanted Twilight Princess and then I got Twilight Princess and I'm like, oh, this is okay.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was just okay. I felt like I was... I'm super obsessed with that horrific Ocarina of Time experience I had as a kid with just scary-ass monsters, haunting music. I mean, I'm talking about like a 1.0 cartridge. So I've got all the old music on there. Ganondorf still spits up blood when I kill him. Like it was a time and a place, and it was hardcore.
It was. Yeah, I was obsessed with that game. And Majora's Mask, which I don't. I hate how annoying this makes me sound, but Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda.
Yeah, I've been feeling a little common with that opinion.
It feels like such a hipster ass thing, but I have so much love for Majora's Mask, and it's my answer when you say what's your favorite Zelda.
It's subtext. Yeah, when you screamed your head off because you were transforming into a Zora, like there was a part of you that says, "Whew, I probably shouldn't screw around with this too much." And then you'd go like swim and do jumps and stuff, and like hit sweet Goron jumps and stuff too, even though you screamed your head off. But it's subtext, and that is the most important thing to me in a video game is subtext.
Yeah. It's just because so many people, they're like, Ocarina of Time, greatest game of all time. And it's like, I don't think it's a bad answer. Like, I really can't argue with that. And you wouldn't have Majora's Mask without Ocarina of Time. And so, like, I get it. But I always come back to Aliens. I'd rather watch Aliens. I think Alien is technically a better movie, but I'd rather watch Aliens.
Yeah, can't have one without the other.
You needed Alien to have Aliens, the same way I feel about Ocarina of Time. It deserves all the respect it gets and more. But I like Majora's Mask just a little bit more.
There's also apparently a Tales of Symphonia remaster that's coming out for the Switch. That game's chill. That game's chill.
It will surprise no one, knowing my history, that I have never played a Tales game. So
yeah, I'm not aware of Tales games either.
Or Skies.
And in fact, I'm more intimidated learning it's like a franchise. It was just a happenstance at the time. At the time, may have changed, but well voice acted. The main character is Robin from all the DC stuff. He does a great job as the kid in there. It was tough to find good voice actors. Even now I'm playing through Last of Us 2 and Steve Blum's like, we got to get him. And I'm like, Steve Blum, get the hell out of here. I'm glad he may have taken a break or something. I feel like I hear him less in games, but Wolverine, like just every game 2014 there, like every bad guy was just Wolverine. And it really kind of knocks me out of it.
Yeah, it's just something I missed entirely growing up. Didn't play a lot of... Well, they're not JRPGs, are they? Are they RPGs?
I would call them JRPGs. Yeah, Skies of Arcadia.
Okay, yeah.
And
I just didn't play a lot of JRPGs. I played Pokemon, I played Final Fantasy X, and that was kind of it.
I broke my arm a lot growing up. That's why I got into them. I needed turn-based games. Just kept breaking my arm 3 times. So
my only memory of trying to play a game while horribly injured was playing the god-awful Chester Cheetah Sega Genesis game shortly after having my fingers run over by ice skates.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think it was my mom ran out to Blockbuster to get something to cheer me up. She had no idea what to rent. And I was like, sure, I'll play
Cheetah.
this. Yep. That was that's a very deep memory.
Also, they're apparently making the Wolf Among Us 2 Telltale series in the colon. So I didn't know they're doing that. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I didn't know Telltale was back.
It's called the Telltale series, so it's like an homage to Telltale. You know what I mean? Like that. It seems kind of weird to have it there in the title like that. So maybe the director's on board or something. They kind of
Well, Telltale got like the licenses were purchased by another group, and they're keeping the name. And I believe they offered freelance positions to some old devs. It's not like Telltale is full on reborn back the way it was.
a studio consisting of former Telltale staff, which is now known as Ad Hoc Studio.
Okay, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm still sad about the Telltale state of affairs. Have you watched that No Clip yet?
No, I haven't watched any No Clips. Recently.
Watch the next time you find yourself with an extra amount of time, when you're not torturing yourself by watching the Last of Us show, you can watch the the Telltale documentary from No Clip.
It's a horrible amount of work enjoying television.
That was part of the pre-show, by the way, podcast listeners. Sorry, Kyle was like, I was giving him a joking hard time because he was like, I have no time. I have to watch The Last of Us. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I have to watch like the best TV show of the year.
Yeah, it's rough out here, man.
Yeah, and you're enjoying it, by the way.
I am,
which is amusing. But it was just the way you made it sound was really funny. I was like, oh, such arduous work watching Pedro Pascal be wonderful.
It's tough, man. I can't see without my subtitles, like I can't hear without my subtitles. I'm reading a book.
Oh my God. Also, there's a nice short YouTube video about that, by the way, while we were all watching subtitles. I watched it the other day. I'll send you the link.
Is it just poor mixing? Is that why we're all doing it?
They go through the whole history.
Yeah.
And they talk to a dialogue editor, like mixer. It was fascinating. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up. It brings to the end of this delightful podcast where Kyle mentioned Overwatch, which meant I went on more rants than I meant.
Oh,
but
is that the culprit today?
Yeah, yes,
Fair.
yes. You mentioned it. I'm just a little over your quirky Burger King Kids Club cast of characters. I'm a little done with it.
I had no idea they were like. We covered it last week. The China shutdown, NetEase and all that. I did not make the connection that they were just turning everything off. Like,
they just turned it off. Yeah, it's nuts.
Dude, my YouTube is full of like just sad gamers posting their final moments in World of Warcraft. I mean, they're in other languages, but it's being recommended to me, and holy shit.
Talk to devs, and they've talked about. They're like, yeah, listen, it's hard to get games into China. Like it sucks for us too because you got to get like approval. And that always was interesting to me, but I never really understood entirely what it meant. And now it's like, holy crap. Like it really does mean like you pissed them off. Like you just don't get access to that market anymore.
A 10-year long character just gets shut down for good. Like that's intense. For some reason, they still had the Legion login, so I don't know if they ever got other expansions.
Well, that's interesting from a like kind of a macro view, because you remember way back in the day when Steam was picking up steam, we were all like, well, we don't actually own these games. What happens if they just shut the shit down? We won't have these games anymore. And now we don't. I feel like we don't talk about that anymore because we just kind of trust, unless it's a Google product, that you'll have it forever, or Amazon.
And dig there.
Yeah. Well, I don't. They're just Hi Stadia, where you at? But that's what just happened.
Yeah.
Like if you were playing World of Warcraft, the Chinese licensed World of Warcraft, like it gone. Like that's nuts.
Yeah.
Like we like many of us have elected to stop playing World of Warcraft at some points, but
right.
They've never just been like, sorry, your shit's gone. See ya. Like that it's just wild. Yeah.
Well, and how many times on the Here's the Storm show did we say, well, they'll never turn off servers, it's too bad for business? Like you could never make that stance, and now to have that happen in one area, untied to popularity of the game and stuff. But it was
it is unique in a way, but it also, I can't help but think about the early days of stuff like Steam and whatnot, where you're just like, what happens if this isn't successful? I don't get to keep my game. Like It's strange.
I
and
still
a
got
little
my
scary.
disc.
But you know what? But you know what isn't scary?
That I still have my Warcraft 3 discs and play it whenever I want. Yes, please. Yeah, that's not scary at all. I still own those.
I still have my USB somewhere that came with my StarCraft 2 Collector's Edition, so I still have OG StarCraft and Brood War on a USB stick.
Did you see that they apparently said, we're trying to end the show, I'm so sorry, but they sent out a survey that was like, hey, if we reforged Warcraft 3, would you play it?
You can't ask people that. You have to just do it and surprise us.
You do us like out of the goodwill, like your high five, whatever we talked about today.
A goodwill move where you just suddenly it's just like, we fixed it all. Everything's fixed. Original Warcraft 3 is fixed, but also Reforged isn't bad now.
Yeah, like, you just do that.
You just need to do it. You just need to do the work.
It'd be like, hey, would it be cool if I like acknowledged your birthday? We're like, you just acknowledge my birthday. You just make a birthday party. You surprise me. You don't make a big fan.
If I bought you a present, would that make you like just buy? Yeah, what?
Yeah,
what? That's not how it works.
Go for it.
That's not how it works. Sometimes I do ask people like, "Hey, do you have this yet?"
Yeah, sometimes you do have to do it. Yeah. Do you have Warcraft 3? Warcraft 3 at home? Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Yes, absolutely. It's what 2023 off to a weird start. If you enjoy video games.
But
like we said last week, man, Last of Us is the success story right now, and everything else is like, ooh, stings a little.
I think that's why we all grabbed on to the Xbox announcement this week. You know, regardless of all the news, it was some good news. It was some video game news.
Yeah, it's things you're gonna get to play, and if you have Game Pass, almost all of it as soon as it comes out.
I'm pressing this button.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. You're playing me off. Thank you, Kyle. I was doing
the microphone is lowering.
We want to thank our badass patrons for supporting us on Patreon. You can support everything Kyle and I do by going to supportourbromance.com. That'll just take you straight to our Patreon page. And this week, we want to thank Mick F.
Musing on Scribbles. Thank you for signing up.
Like that name. Hero B. Thank you for the support.
Incredible Plum. Congratulations on a fabulous name, and thank you for the support.
Aria C. Thank you very much. Thanks for heading on over there and signing up.
Art, not available. We appreciate your availability in the Patreon.
Maybe an AI can help you with that.
No. Maybe it's not available in protest. Maybe they took it off TV and art.
And Vextress, thank you for signing up. Also, our latest legendary level backer on our Patreon.
Much appreciated.
So thank you, Vextress, and thank you to the rest of our legendary level backers who we thank on each and every episode. Sean B, Mike R, Stephen J, Wayra E, a cat just tickled me in the middle of speaking. Hi, Dexter. Das, Cheesy Bob, Sean with an EAB, and now Vextress. Thank you all so much for the support. We really appreciate it. Check out supportourbromance.com to support everything we're doing. But other than that, follow Kyle at Kyle Ferguson on Twitter. I'm at Garrett Art on Twitter. And we have a joint account at Garrett and Kyle. Everything else we do can be found right here on YouTube, where we're recording live as we speak at youtube.com/amovetv. Follow us there for our Wednesday uploads. Got a brand new wall of dungeons for Final Fantasy XIV yesterday. We ranked all of the Stormblood optional dungeons, which are amazing, and also going to be our final optional dungeon wall, because there's not enough after this to do make its own video.
Yeah, it's so criteria variant dungeons. It'll be its own thing.
The things we haven't done that we don't quite understand.
Yeah, no, we don't really understand it.
Yeah, and I'm sure chat will try to explain it to us, but you will not be the first and you will not be the last, because it does not sink in until I see it for myself. That's over at youtube.com/amovetv. Go check it out. We're also getting back to MSQ tonight as we take on Mount Gulg, and everyone's really excited about it.
Yeah, who knows? It'd be
the little thing in the back of my mind, I'm like, what if it's like the worst thing I've ever seen in a video game? What if I just don't like it?
Yeah.
And everyone else is excited. It's always, it's a little spooky. It's a little scary.
Yeah, it is.
So far.
It is a little spooky.
But so far, every time everyone's been excited, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's nice when the hype pays off.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope the hype paid off for you today on the Grinding Gear podcast. But until next time, GG.
Take care.